Hey guys, welcome back to the Downbeat podcast. Oh, have I got a good one for you today. We got the guitarist and one of the founding members of one of my favorite metal bands, a heritage act by this point, and they're still making absolute bangers. We got Mark Morton of Lamb of God. We talk about their brand new absolute ripper of an album, Into Oblivion. I punish him about it. All the questions you might want to know about that record, I asked him. We talk about Sobriety and what led him there. We talk about his brand new signature Gibson Les Paul. I made a mate today, basically. What you're going to watch is me making a mate and telling him how good I think he is at guitar and writing music. And it's just wholesome, I think. Wholesome guy. Family man. Just wholesome. Just a wholesome chat. Anyway, if you want to give me money, you could go to patreon.com/the Downbeat and you could give me money. And in exchange, I'll give you these episodes without ads. I'll give you them early. I'll give you early access to merch. I'll give you early access to anything I do. And it's cheap. I don't know why. Feel a bit bad asking for money. Still doing it though, aren't I? And I'm going to do it again. If you don't want to join the Patreon, you could go to www.thedownbeat.at and you could get some clothes. You got to wear clothes. We got these lovely hoodies. We got shirts. We got shorts. We got jackets. We got socks. Everything except underwear. Underwear pending. www.downbeat.at. So it spells Downbeat. If you're watching this, there's a pretty high chance that you're a guitarist, right? And if you're a guitarist, there's a pretty high chance that you're recording guitars on your computer. Well, guess what? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the wonderful people at Neural DSP. Neural DSP make groundbreaking amp simulators, pedal simulators, all the stuff like that for your computer. All you got to do, load up a Neural DSP plugin. One click later, maybe 2 clicks later, possibly 3+ clicks later, but not many clicks later, you can have the tone in your hands from artists like Gojira, Misha Mansour, Tosin Abassi, Tim Henson, Pliny, anyone, Nolly. They got bass stuff if you're inept, right? Whatever, I'm a drummer, okay? Bassists, don't come for me. I'm the most idiot. You are the second most idiot. Anyway, listeners of the Downbeat podcast can get a whopping 30% off any Neural DSP plugin. You can't get that discount anywhere else by going to neuraldsp.com and using the code DOWNBEAT. Check it out, get that tone going. It's Mark Morton of Lamb of God on the Downbeat podcast. Mark Morton, Lamb of God.
What's up, Craig?
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course.
You said something before we even sat down that you were like, I have Craig questions.
Yeah. Well, I would like to know how you're finding Nashville. Because you've not been here that long.
Yeah.
You're from London, I know. And it's quite a difference, London to Nashville.
It is very different.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can sort of piece together why you might have come here. But I want to know, like, what the first, 3 months were like. Were you like, what the hell am I doing? Were you lost? What were the things like? Were there cultural elements of Nashville, which has a culture, that you struggled to wrap your head around, or maybe still do?
This guy should have a podcast.
I'm genuinely curious.
No, we go straight in on me. Sorry, if you're a massive Lamb of God fan, we're going to get to it.
We'll talk about me.
Of course
I'm far more interested in talking about you.
I would say until 6 weeks ago, I felt unsteady, unsure, didn't know what I was doing, but just because of how long everything took. Not really like a culture shock per se, but more like, okay, I'm going to do this thing, which is crazy, move my whole entire life, and I'll just do it, and then I'll figure it out when I get there.
Because you didn't really do a ton of research on Nashville, right? I mean, you've been here a few times.
You got beef with Nashville.
I love Nashville.
Okay.
And Nashville moves and feels and has this similar pace to Richmond,
Yeah.
which is where I'm from, which is kind of next door.
You still live in Richmond?
Yes. Nice. Yeah, I do. Outside of Richmond. I live kind of back in the woods, but my city is Richmond.
I've been to Nashville many, many times on tour.
Right.
And then I did lots of podcasts here. And the guests were just, there were so many guests. It was constant. I was like, if I ever move to America, I'll move to Nashville because for business, it'd be so good.
It's booming here. It's crazy.
And before Stray split up, our base in the US that we would practice was in Nashville because Tom's in Franklin. So I already had a whole set of drums here, a whole set of gear. So it was the easiest move to the US for the podcast, basically, that wasn't LA or New York.
Okay, so it was sort of practical for your specific situation, and it wasn't like a choice like, I'm going to go there instead of LA or New York.
It was more, I mean, it definitely was a little bit of a choice to pick it over those, but what pushed it over the edge was the fact I already had drums here. So for any other part of my career, it's like, I'm not freighting a whole drum kit. We had a Euro set of drums and everything that was in Germany, and then a set that was in Nashville. So that bit was easy. But then moving over and being like, okay, right, I've got to set up a business. I've got to move everything, was like, I think I finished my drum, because I did drum streaming and stuff. I landed here December 26th, I think. It was like the day after Christmas or something. It was before Christmas, December 19th last year.
It's bleak in this city that time of year too. I mean, and then especially downtown, there's like nothing happening.
Yeah, it's kind of cold, which I didn't realize.
It is, yeah.
And then it's taken 13 months to like, I just finished the drum room last week. So that's been the most annoying thing. And then little things like just I had to retake my driving test. And how old are you?
I'm 53.
Okay, so like,
how old are you?
I'm 38.
Okay.
So like, I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
And you spend so much of your like, I don't even want to say like tens to 20s. You spend so much of your like mid-20s to mid-30s, in my case, being a man, you know, like learning man skills. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Little things like just, you know, being assertive on the road and stuff like that. You're not assertive on the road when you're 17. You earn that.
Right.
Little tiny things like that. And then come in here, everything's on the wrong side, having to redo my driving test. All of that stuff was just so infantilizing that I was just like, I'm a 38-year-old little boy.
Right.
And I can't phone my dad for advice, which was always my move.
Yeah.
This has happened. Dad, what do I do? And he's a man and he knows what to do. It was just like, well, figure that out. So that was like, Madison, are you crying? You look like you're crying. Madison's also my girlfriend.
Oh, cool.
She works here also. But she was like helping me learn to drive on this side of the road, and I'd get really quite upset. Not angry, but just like, just like a baby boy, I can't do this. So other than that,
so it was a challenge to your ego.
Essentially, exactly that.
Yeah. Which is fair. I mean, happens to all of us. What did you love right away? Anything?
This is your podcast now.
I've taken over your podcast. No, these are real. I want to know, because it's like it's interesting to think about someone who, you know, grew up in London,
just outside, but
still. Sure, but going there all the time, I'm sure, you know, for shows and for everything, and it's like such like a manic and crazy and awesome city, like totally different vibe here, and I don't know, what did you love right away? Right away, immediately, I think I woke up like I think I noticed on day 3, but I woke up and I'd go into our kitchen and I'd just pull out my laptop. By this point, we had no furniture or anything. I'd just pull out my laptop and I start working. And on maybe day 3, I looked outside and it was a beautiful day with no rain. Okay.
And I was like, oh my God. Like, that's crazy. And then that's one thing that I still just don't take for granted. Like, I wake up and the blinds are open and the sun's out, and people don't really realize just how bleak the UK is.
Yeah.
And I realized maybe 6 weeks in, I was like, I'm kind of less depressed, and I'm pretty sure it's the sun.
Yeah.
So that was number 1. I like it. Like, obviously America's completely fucked, but like, I do like being here. I'm very privileged to be in a situation where it, like, you know, the things America's completely fucked in right now don't actually affect me on the daily like they do some people.
Yeah. So that's the struggle that I find myself in conversation with some these days, is like, if you turn it off, if you brick the phone or turn it off, or, you know, delete your social media accounts and you just, you just go outside. And in my case, take my kids to the park or walk the dogs or go dig in the garden or go clean the hen house or whatever I do, those things, play guitar. And you're present for that stuff. Are you being entitled and selfish by not dragging yourself down with the weight of the pain of the world? Like, do I have a responsibility? And this is a question because, I've heard arguments on both sides, but do I have a responsibility as a 53-year-old man in a certain station in life and with a certain platform available to me to engage all of the horror and sadness and atrocity and, et cetera, of the world and comment on it or, work towards some end in relation to it? Or should I be present for my life that's immediate? And I think there's some people that think you're ignoring reality if you unplug from that stuff. But I sometimes take the argument that that's my reality is when I unplug, and when I walk out the front door with a cup of coffee and hang out with the dogs and look at the the sun.
I mean, I don't think if there's an argument for you, should you feel guilty for that? I don't think.
Well, I don't know that I ever feel guilty for it. But
no, but I mean,
like, are we creating these two divergent paths where, you either carry that stuff and engage with it or you don't?
I honestly thought during the pandemic, like I was so stoked because I thought there would be. It kind of in a weird apocalyptic way. I thought it was going to melt everything. Like absolutely everything down to the ground, and we were going to have to go back to look, all these billionaires profited billions and billions of money during the pandemic.
Stone cold facts. That's facts.
Anyone, whether it be price gouging or shares or any of that shit. So everyone was disgruntled about that. Then you had travel breaking down and all this stuff, and I was watching. Obviously quite apprehensive about the whole thing and depressed because I couldn't go on tour.
Well, and your experience in UK was, I would say, among the more extreme experiences.
Oh, we were locked.
You guys were locked down. Like in Virginia and Tennessee where we are right now. I mean, and I can only speak to Virginia, but we couldn't go to a restaurant for 2 or 3 months and sit down and eat. You just had to pick up your food and leave. And then schools were shut down. They were doing schools online. And outside of that was kind of it, except that people were sick and dying and hospitals were crazy or whatever, which is awful. You know what I mean? The worst part about it. But having friends in UK and in LA and places like that were more stringently locked down. Yeah. I didn't have that experience, but
we were, especially I was in Scotland at that time. I actually got stuck in Scotland because they closed the border between the two of them, and that's how I ended up just being in Scotland. So I stayed there, and but I just had this thought the whole time, oh shit, maybe this is the thing that gets everyone to mistrust everyone in power, and then B, everyone to this is going to make me sound like a Christian right now, but turn to your neighbor. I thought maybe there was going to be this apocalyptic moment, and it was going to have to be right, who's the baker? Right, don't piss them off. Be really nice to them because I need bread next week. And I was this is going to be sick.
That's cool though.
But it didn't happen. It's fucking worse than ever.
It didn't. Well, is it? Maybe.
It turned, and then that honestly,
it certainly didn't get better. But it's us back to this thing I'm at, and I don't want to labor it or bore your viewers, but that's the thing. I'm is it? If I put a different lens on it, maybe
you got kids though.
Help your neighbor.
You have kids.
I do. I have
get
kids.
out of jail free card of kids because you can.
Tell me what that means.
You can guilt free put all of your emotion, all of your everything you have to do for your kids. That's guilt free. You can't be guilty for that. I don't have kids, so back to your point of like, should I feel guilty about all? If
That was your point. I never said, should I feel guilty?
Well, okay.
I said, should I feel obligated to some degree?
Okay, the
to
obligation.
engage it? I'm beyond feeling guilty about my heart and my soul. I grew out of that. You will too.
I feel like I would feel less obligated
if you had children.
if I had children.
Interesting.
I think if I had children,
So what is it about
the rest of the world would disappear.
Okay. What is it about children that makes that happen versus some other
You tell me.
purpose
I don't
that you
have-
might have, which is maybe like, I don't know.
It's on your doorstep, isn't it? It's on your doorstep, and you have to.
Oh, they're screaming.
Yeah.
One of them is screaming.
And it's your
as I wake
responsibility
up. Yeah, sure.
that
I got young children.
That they don't become a serial killer, and that they're safe, and that's on you. So the bandwidth, you have to put that bandwidth into doing that.
Well, yeah, you do the best you can. I mean, as a parent, you just try to support them in becoming the person that they are, you know what I mean? And not mess that up. Are we allowed to cuss on this show? I would imagine so.
You just can't say the C word,
the C word.
the UK.
Oh yeah.
Can't say that.
I don't say that anyway.
Americans are funny about it. We say it all the time, but I got
Yeah,
demonetized for it.
That's funny because it does. Yeah, you travel enough and you realize there's a different connotation over there than
Funny story.
here.
Merriam-Webster, the word number 1 is vulgar slang for woman, and I think in the Oxford Dictionary, it's an idiot, and then number 2 is vulgar slang for woman. So it's like.
But even it can be chummy.
Oh yeah,
in UK, like it's like-
reappropriated it.
Yeah,
to mean
for sure,
mate.
Which happens as well. But anyway, I won't say that.
Back off the C word. I can't even remember where
But
we were.
yeah. Oh well, I don't want to get too philosophical with you, but that happened naturally.
I like it.
Yeah. So I mean, I just think in kind of maybe closing that or closing my thought process on that there is like a lot of horrible things going on for sure. And the ones that I prioritize as most horrible may or may not be different than the ones that you do. And that's okay. We have different experiences, but there's so much like good stuff happening too. And it doesn't mean that I don't care or that I don't hurt when people hurt. It just means that I wake up every day with an option to focus on like love and light and children and music and some days I do a pretty good job at that, and not always, but I do always do a better job at that. It's like in relation to how much I'm on the social media stuff.
Guess what? I was on it.
Which is not going to be, a mind-blowing revelation. We all know that.
I had a similar situation. Not to keep going on about it, but let's go.
Let's go. We're talking.
Where I disconnected a bit more the last sort of year, partly from being so busy doing all this stuff, and I did notice much happier.
Yeah.
And then even today, someone pissed me off on Instagram. How pissed off was I earlier? Really pissed off.
At someone you don't even know?
Yeah, someone I barely know.
Yeah.
And they were just sending me a message about something. It wasn't even that bad, but they just kept going on about it. And I was like, this is a time vacuum.
Well, and don't we talk to people in that form of communication differently?
Oh, I text Rain Man.
When I mean, just like it's particularly like other accounts or like people we don't know in the physical form. Like we will talk. It's kind of like when you get in the car, your whole demeanor is different than it is when you're not in your car, or often is. So it's just like, I don't know, man.
Especially when I can't drive properly, my demeanor's awful.
Well, you're a
baby. I'm getting
you're
what am I doing?
You're belittled, right?
I am so belittled. Anyway, to further your point, it was difficult. Now everything's pretty cool. I'm quite settled here now.
Yeah.
I quite like it.
What do you do for fun besides work? Because I know you're like me, which work is fun.
Work is the most fun.
It's so fun. And then I'll complain about working too much, but it's like when I get time free, I just create more work for myself.
Yeah, 100%. And I genuinely love it. Like, genuinely love it. But I guess eat. But
eating's fun too. Yeah.
Work and eat that's fun for me here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good food in Nashville.
People say that.
Yeah, you don't think so? Maybe we have you're European. Well, are you European?
No, do you know what?
you're
We've
not.
been to a lot of places that are really, really good. People who listen to podcasts all the time are going to be so pissed off with this because I say it all the time. Been to a lot of places that are really, really great. Been to a lot of places where people have said they're really great,
Right.
and you go and it's like a 6 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that indicative of the overall quality of American food.
Right.
So like, this is we got a pitchfork 1 to 5, and then you've got Joe's blog 1 to 5.
I mean, I'm a simpleton. I'm happy with Moss Tacos out here in East Nashville.
Get that delivered often.
That little Thai sushi joint, Bit of Bite, I think it's
Oh
called.
my God!
Love it.
It's the best restaurant in Nashville.
It's great.
That's made my day.
It's great.
Because everyone else hypes up this other place, and they're like, this is the best sushi.
I don't need the other place. I've never been to the other
Guess
place.
what? It's not. It's like,
I'm not going to the other place.
we got a term in the UK, I don't know if you have it in America, which is mutton dressed as lamb.
Okay.
Do you have that?
No.
Okay, so it just means, if you were buying what you thought was lamb meat and it ended up to be sheep, which is inferior tasting.
Okay.
So, not that either of these places sell mutton.
We don't eat much of either here.
But
in the States,
the phrase mutton dressed as lamb is like something that on the outside looks like it's going to be great, and then you go and it's not actually that good. That is quite a lot of the places. But Bite a Bit and Mars Tacos.
It's Bite a Bit. Okay, I did it
Bite a
backwards,
Bit, yeah. Terrible name though.
It is. I know.
For a place that's that good. Awful name.
I don't. Yeah. I don't care.
Could Bite a Bit today though, to be fair. Sorry for the interruption, guys, but I want to tell you about a festival that the Downbeat and myself is going to be at, and I would love to see you there. Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival takes over Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th at historic Crew Stadium, and will play host to an absolutely bonkers lineup featuring Lamb of God, plus headliners Tool, Bring Me Horizon, My Chemical Romance, and Shinedown. There are 4 additional stages across the festival grounds and 140 plus bands in total. It's 4 days of metal and hard rock surrounded by large-scale art installations, murals, and immersive visuals that turn the festival grounds into a living gallery. I love a festival like that. Let me see stuff. Let me use all of these senses. As is to be expected by the big Wim dog, Danny Wimmer, I don't know him, not sure I'm allowed to call him that. Gonna go with it. The lineup spans the full spectrum of rock and metal music, from behemoth and Megadeth level intensity to the modern heavyweights like Lorna Shore, Architects, Kubla Khan, all the way to the kind of stuff you don't want your grand to see on your t-shirt: Dying Fetus, Slaughter to Prevail, and Cattle Decapitation. That's a pretty heavy lineup. 4-day and single-day passes are on sale now with hotel packages, VIP, and rock royalty options. I don't know if it comes with a crown, but it should. Be there when it happens. Get your passes now at sonictemplefestival.com. We've got to get onto some stuff.
We got to talk about music.
Here's the issue. I've got so many questions for you. Like,
fire away.
Look at this. I'm going to have to decide what to do. This is my job, apparently. Because I'm a big Lamb of God fan.
Okay. Thank you.
Big Lamb of God fan. We haven't met, but we did follow each other on Twitter, which we both quit Twitter, I believe.
Yeah.
And then we're both at the same wedding last month.
Mm-hmm.
I think we locked eyes, and then I was like, I'll speak to him later. Didn't see you again.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure I knew then that I was going to be doing this with you. I think I knew by then.
I did,
and probably would have mentioned. It was just,
it was on my
for
list
people
as well.
listening, that it was a wedding with a lot of people there, and we just kind of, I didn't make it into your circle and you didn't make it into mine.
Were you in Sharon Osbourne's circle?
No, I didn't speak to Sharon that night.
Me neither, and I'm gutted. I didn't. I had no idea like what I'd even say. I just like saw that she was there.
Oh, you haven't talked to her before?
Never met her. And
she's lovely.
She had so many people there around her, and I was just like, what would I even say? Like, I'd probably just say something really British.
She's wonderful.
But yeah, so I wanted to meet her, but I wasn't gonna. She's probably still grieving, and she's at a wedding. Yeah. And I go, hello, mate. Do you like tea? Yeah. Like, yeah, that would have been rubbish. You recently celebrated 7 years sober.
Okay, we're going there. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh, can we go there?
Sure. To it. Yeah, we can.
It's a big part of the law. It's the law.
Yeah.
I was going to ask specifically, congratulations, number one.
Thank you.
Is that difficult at stuff like weddings and like the festive season?
It's not. difficult for me anymore. I think maybe, the first year or two, there might have been events that I would, kind of dip out of pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If people, but for different reasons now, I don't like being around drunk people now. It's not fun to be around drunk people, and not in a way of like, I think I'm better than you, or it's nothing like that. Like who would I the way I drank and used, like, who would I to be judging someone like that? It's just like not the kind of energy I want to be around. So no, it's not difficult in that sense. I really genuinely enjoy being sober. I'm happier. Yeah. I'm much happier, and my life is far more manageable. The people that love me and the people that are around me tend to be more at ease.
Yeah.
I find myself to be more productive overall. I'm a far better parent. I'm a better business partner, bandmate. I'm a better son. There's just like nothing bad that happens from getting clean and sober, in my estimation, in my experience.
7 years.
It's difficult to do depending upon how far along one is, and whether or not they have a problem. I definitely had a problem. Yeah.
Most people,
for a long time.
Most people would have. I mean, December 27th.
Yeah.
2019. Is that when it was?
2018.
2018. Oh my God, we're in 2026. Most people would have waited 4 days to go sober.
Yeah, it was gonna be Christmas, but I couldn't.
So had you had a plan to quit? What I was going to say, was there one thing that tipped you over the edge, or did you have a plan to do it?
I was coming off, I don't want to get too graphic, but I was coming off of several things, and one in particular, I kind of needed to wean down.
Oh, okay.
And so I had set a date to be completely done with that. And, I missed the date by a little bit. I was very, very uncomfortable.
Good for you.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to talk about that a lot.
No, it's okay. I just, I can talk about it in certain contexts for sure. But, if anybody that's watching or listening to your show thinks that it's impossible to imagine a life without drugs and alcohol, I promise you there is one.
That's what I was going to, literally my next question was going to be, have you got any advice for anyone who's maybe thinking about?
Find someone who got clean and sober and ask them what they did, and listen to what they did and try to do it.
Who was yours?
I had a bunch of people. I had been around some cats, and I don't want to drop names or talk about anybody else's experience in this way. But I had some people around me that ran as hard as I did and then stopped, and some of those dudes had been done for a while, and I watched their lives get better as mine was getting just worse. I'm fortunate to have had a front row seat for people turning their lives around before I was able to do that in that way.
Have you managed to be that person for someone else?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, a couple cats, yeah.
Oh, I bet that feels pretty good.
I mean, that's what it's all about,
Do you get the odd phone call where they're like,
oh, yeah.
Damn, that's
we're a whole...
You're like, should I feel guilty for this or that? You're a saint.
No, I'm certainly not a saint. We're a whole little underground scene, man, checking in on each other. It's like a whole world going on.
That's awesome.
Sober cats, yeah.
Have you got any vices left? Even like non-life destroying?
Man, sugar haunts me. All these people that are like, I gave up sugar completely. I can't. I mean, I can, but I haven't.
Give yourself some fun.
I'm right. Come on, man. And coffee. Like, I drink coffee.
I was going to say, I saw you with the tea. I was like, surely he's not gone that far.
Well, it's just because I've already had a gallon of coffee. You know what I mean?
Did you go to Elegy? Did you check it out?
My manager called while I was on the way over there, and then I pulled over to talk to him, and I talked to him for a little while, and then I put it in the phone to find where Elegy was, and they were closed. So.
Oh, damn. By that point, yeah. Maybe they close it.
They do. So I went to the big corporate monster and got a tea.
Should you feel guilty for that? It's a whole nother kettle of fish. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not even going to touch on it. I'm not even going to go there.
I don't. Stop. You shouldn't feel guilty. You don't feel guilty, man.
I don't. I'm fine.
Good. I don't want you to feel guilty, man. I want you to forgive you. I want you to treat yourself like you would treat your very best friend in the whole world.
I'm kind of doing like an extensive bit, though. to myself where I'll say something is like I'll pretend to be either sides of an argument, just depending on how I feel. If something happens around town or whatever.
This is an inner monologue, or you mean
no, just outwardly, and then I'm like, I don't really mean that. I'm just joking. Like, so let's say we were driving somewhere and you got the Starbucks.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, don't you know, and all this stuff. And I would be joking. And in my head,
but you would wait until I reacted.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm like,
okay, I back that. That's cool.
My big one at the moment with that is like, we have both left Twitter, right?
Right.
What I find really funny at the moment with the AI thing is people who are very vocal about anti-AI. And for the record, I'm so anti-AI for anything creative.
I want to talk about that.
You want to talk about it? Yeah. Well, let me get onto my soapbox, and then I'll remove myself from the soapbox.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's take Spotify as an example. Like everyone that is very annoyed at Spotify, and there's very many legitimate reasons to be annoyed at Spotify.
Okay.
But then they take to Twitter to complain about Spotify.
Okay. Do they? I don't know. I haven't been on Twitter.
I mean, I'm sure it happens.
Probably
I'm just guessing. But it's like then
my exit from Twitter wasn't. It was hard to not say it like you say Twitter.
You can say it like that if you want.
You can do it if you want.
It's called X.
Oh, that's right. Right. The Bird app. My exit from there wasn't like any sort of like statement of protest or disgust. It just kind of got lame. Like it just got.
Yeah,
it just wasn't fun to be on anymore. You know what I mean? So I'm sure there are plenty of reasons to have dropped it. The best of which is probably like just fuck social media in general.
Doom scrolling.
Right. You know what I mean? But it wasn't a protest of anything. And I don't say that to say that there's nothing to protest. I just mean like for me personally, it was like, this sucks. Why am I on here?
So I saw a screen grab of a Twitter post on Instagram.
Okay.
Which is now how I see Twitter things.
Yeah, sure.
And
That's how I see TikTok, yeah.
It was someone asking Grok, which is the Twitter AI.
Okay, I didn't know that.
A question about, I can't even remember what it was. It was two people, and it was one of them was, I think it was, it was like, spot the war criminal in this photo or whatever, one of those things where it's like a gotcha moment for Grok. And then on the actual tweet, it scrolled across, and the same person was arguing about how terrible AI is for creation. And it's like one post later, they're using AI for a gotcha.
Right.
And like at that point, I'm just like, oh, guys, just shut up. You can have all these feelings. Just be a bit just shut up a bit.
Yeah.
Just be quiet. Anyway, AI. What's your thoughts? You seem ready to go with some AI questions.
Oh, well, I don't know a lot about it. I think we probably, I would guess, I don't think, because I don't know much about it. My guess would be we all are using it more than we realize.
Google's pretty AI.
Google's
now,
pretty AI, and then, everyone's on ChatGPT, and then there's probably even, well, certainly like the algorithm. I mean, what is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. I think they've made something, I don't know what the exact achievement happened to start calling everything AI, but I'm pretty sure we've been using
right
intelligence that's artificial for a hot minute.
Again, here's my question. I don't have a stance, but I do have a question, and you're an artist, and we're creatives. Isn't there a version of this where if a computer can write a better riff than me, then and play it more passionately and so that it sounds more, exciting, then should I rethink my approach to my songwriting or to my instrument if a computer's really kicking my ass? Like, or should I try and shut that computer down?
I mean, there's two separate counter arguments there.
Let's hear them, because I don't want to. And look, I'm 53 years old. Lamb of God has had a 25-year career.
Riffs.
I got riffs, right?
You got so many riffs.
I still got them.
Haven't even talked about them, but he's got them.
I got riffs. I don't mind saying. But my point is not to say that. My point is to say, I'm not going to have to wrestle with AI creatively as much as younger cats and up and coming bands, right?
True.
So I have that luxury of saying, I mean, are you really scared of AI? Because if
I
so,
am terrified.
then get your chops up, man.
No.
Why? Then
Right,
that's
okay.
that's the only way I look at it, and it's coming from this sort of bravado of like,
Yeah.
bring it,
Okay. So, number one, anything it can beat you at, let's say a riff with more passion or anything like that, let's say it can hypothetically do that. It's trained to do that off your own riffs and other people's riffs without you authorizing it to do that.
Right.
Which is a, privacy breach.
I
ethical
guess, but I
breach.
mean, people do that all the time.
Yeah, but that's
to
still
each
a
other.
person. They still need to use their brain. The thing is, people are coming out with these AI bands.
Yes, right.
And they are getting 400,000 to 1 million monthly listeners immediately. Spotify algorithm doesn't pick up that it's an AI band. It gets pushed to a bunch of people, and then that's less people listening to Lamb of God.
Does it really not know that it's AI, or is it better off that it is?
What, for them? Yeah, because they make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's less people listening to Lamb of God. It could, you don't care because you've got kids. It comes back to that. You are in a position
I don't
to
care
not
because
care.
I'm breathing and I'm healthy today, and man.
I care because
what are we gonna do about it?
That's the
what are we gonna do about it? Are we gonna get mad about it and talk about it on our podcast, or are we gonna go home and open up? Oh,
you wanted to talk about this?
Are we gonna go home and make shepherd's pie and do a watercolor and drink some jasmine tea?
You said you wanted to talk about AI, so we're talking about it.
I did, and I'm not gonna drink jasmine tea and do a watercolor. Although I did get a watercolor set for Christmas.
Jasmine tea,
and I do love some jasmine tea.
Awesome.
So I might do this thing.
But like. Stay on topic because it's a good fucking chat.
So that's where I find like my relief of any fear of AI is I have clung and subscribed and clung to this notion of like, if it beats me, then I deserve to be beaten by it.
Yeah, but I think you should feel guilty for this one.
Okay,
on behalf of other people. There'll be people out there kids out there that want to live the musical life that you've lived on the stages, on this stuff. And AI is going to make it exponentially harder for them.
It will and it won't. I mean, AI is not going to go put on a show. You know that feeling when you play a show and the walls of the room are breathing? You know what I'm talking about? Like you've played hundreds of shows and the room is like pulsing and it's like the walls are sweating and there's a smell and a power.
Yeah, the best shows.
Right. AI's not going to do that.
Yeah, but the bands have to
I went to a show Saturday night. My brother-in-law is in his like early mid-20s and he has a band, and they played with a bunch of local bands. My wife and I went out. We had tea. Speaking of tea, we went out to this beautiful, like nice, like French restaurant. We had a nice little light dinner and some tea, and then we split there and we went to this like dingy like basement venue where Gabe's band was playing with a bunch of other bands, and man, it was like probably, I don't know, 300 kids in there. Average age was probably like 23. There were a couple here and there, but the phones weren't all in the air. People were laughing. There were just wildly like diverse group of kids, like all looking heavy metal, rock and roll. I was like, I almost wept because it felt to me like 1993, like when I was coming up. And it's like the world is, man.
I'm not denying that that's not the best.
And please, I'm not on this high horse of like, I'm not on my phone. I made a post about it on Instagram, right? So I'm on Instagram way too much. You know what I mean? So please, like, I'm not better at this than anybody. I'm just saying like, this is how I aspire to think about it all is it's not.
Yeah. I like
it's only
that.
as serious as you take it. I mean, there are some problems with the world that doesn't apply to, you know what I mean? But
see, I do think you are slightly privileged in that.
I have the luxury of having that opinion.
Which you did say.
I have the luxury of having that opinion because I've already done the bit.
The mid-level musicians, okay, maybe not even what I'm saying. Your point is correct. AI can never do those kind of shows. but it is going to remove a lot of work for mid-level musicians in writing music, in additional performers on stage.
It sucks. I agree.
We got him. It
sucks. Yeah, I agree.
I like you're right though. The shows, it cannot replicate the shows. Maybe I have like a chip on my shoulder.
We
about
have to
it.
decide what we want.
I don't think we can do anything about it. Though.
We can't do it. That's really the thing. And I've had this. I recently. He probably won't mind me saying. I recently had a little. It certainly wasn't an argument. It was kind of a back and forth with Randy, our singer, about it, which he's just fired up, like mad at AI, And I'm just like,
photographer.
What do you?
Of course he's mad at AI.
It sucks. I'm not defending it, but I'm just saying, like,
you better like a little bit of devil's advocate.
What are you gonna do about it? Walk around mad? You're not gonna. There's not gonna be some like it's the genie's out of the bottle. You're not gonna shut it down. Like just like figure out a way.
There needs to be a watermark that has to be on something that's AI. I know they're doing them, but they're getting removed. Idea. But like I'm talking a digital pixelated watermark that can irrefutably prove something that is AI. Not just for art.
But then they'll figure out like who's gonna enforce that, and then at what point will it not be in their best interest to enforce it or to apply? You know what I mean? Like
yeah, you're right.
Like someone's gonna figure out a way to profit off of
there's one
every single thing, because as a civilization we seem to just worship money, and that's really a shame.
That's why we're here. That's why we're in this situation with AI. There's one flip side that I think to AI that will be good. Other than the fact, I think crucify me if you want, but I think like AI should free people from menial tasks in order to do stuff like creativity, walk the dog, hang out with their kids.
What could it do for healthcare? Like for science and stuff? I don't know. Maybe
that stuff I'm all for.
Maybe it's terrible. Maybe it's great. I don't know.
I think it cured.
I'm not smart enough, but it seems like to me
it cured a bunch of stuff. I think maybe one thing. Don't know. Madison's on Google. We'll wait for her. Simon cut me saying a bunch of stuff.
Why? Be wrong.
That was a joke. Yeah. Simon, leave that one in.
Yeah.
So like I'm all for it for stuff like that. I'm not for it for creativity, but there's one thing that I am kind of come back to I feel like a bit of an anarchist in this thought. Same thought that I had in COVID where I was like, yeah, it's all going to burn down. I'm going to have to start again. When all these AI videos start going around with people doing crazy shit and everyone's like, that's AI, that's not AI. Every single person of the political spectrum, no matter where you are, is going to have to universally agree for the first time in human history, seeing something with your eyes can be wrong.
Right. And that's the thing. All this has led to the internet is pretty obsolete, at least in its original sense, right? It was supposed to be this wealth of information. But the truth is now you can't really tell what's real and what's not. So it's sort of eaten itself in the sense that, I think it's maybe not all the way there yet, but to your point, like what value is any of it if we don't know?
If we don't know if it's true.
Like if it's true, or at this point, if it's even real, even if it looks real, it sounds real, it seems like it might be real, you don't trust it.
And that's what I mean? Like, that's kind of cool, because everyone's going to have to go to the baker.
Kind of this
Who's the baker?
Accelerationist kind of approach to like, burn it down.
Yeah. Hurry up. We need to talk about fucking music.
We haven't even talked about music.
We haven't talked about music.
This is great. I'm really enjoying this, man.
This is the thing, right? I'm having a great time. You're having a great time. When we don't talk about music, quite a lot of time, the fans don't have a great time.
I know.
But there is a big bit on AI. What did AI cure? Just for the...
I'm not saying anything it's curing, but it does do stuff that is helpful in like cancer screenings. Right. It's all just like research stuff. Like saving the bees, it has like cameras, microphones, sensors and stuff on beehives and stuff, since bees are bees.
Bees are big.
We like bees.
We love bees.
We love bees. It can use stuff like projecting and seeing what climate change can be, but it's not
like playing out models.
right.
Yeah,
But I'm not seeing anything of things that it has like straight up cured. I'm just seeing examples of ways that it can put all the information together.
That stuff's cool. Do that. Don't make my man's riffs, even though he doesn't care.
I don't care.
Any computers listening, this is not your hall pass to go make some Lamb of God riffs. Speaking of riffs, we're not even getting to the album yet. Fuck you guys. We're going to get there because it's a ripper. What are you doing in Nashville?
I'm in town doing some promotional stuff for Gibson, among other things. Yeah.
Because?
Well, because we're working on some new cool things.
You're not allowed to talk about that?
I don't think so.
You've been like teasing it for fucking years.
Well, it's so much fun, man. I'm a bit of a gear nerd, you know, so to have been invited into the house of Gibson and like I was, and to be around all that stuff and have people that listen to ideas that I have, it's really fun.
So you went to Gibson. Oh, you're going to Gibson tomorrow?
I'll be in and out of Gibson this week.
To do what?
Okay. I have a signature model Les Paul coming out, but it's not announced.
Fucking knew it. We can cut it if it's if you don't know it's going to be announced.
You can just leave it like this. So if you're seeing this, it's been announced now. But if you're not,
Or you could ask them if you can soft announce it. I soft announced my ride, and it ended up doing great for sales.
Yeah. That's cool. So yeah, we've been developing a new guitar model for some time, and I'm excited about it. And I've been playing the protos, and people are talking about them. You know, the guitar nerds are seeing pictures and being like, "Is that it?" You know, so.
That's amazing.
It's super cool. Yeah, what an honor, you know.
Do you think you're there yet, or is this what you're...
Oh, yeah, no, I'm there.
You're there?
Yeah.
So what's the trip for? Just to fuck around?
Oh, you need content.
Oh, it's done.
It's done.
Tell me about this guitar.
The thing about the Les Paul, I have a signature model Les Paul coming out. It still sounds crazy to even say that.
It's the one.
It's the one. Les Pauls have always been there for me. I have made, endorsed, had signature models with other brands, with another brand.
Yep.
Fantastic instrument. Nothing bad to say about that experience at all, or those instruments. Absolutely wonderful experience. But the DNA of a Les Paul was in that. And Les Pauls have always been around. They've always been at home. They've always been in the studio, in addition to whatever else I was playing.
It's rock music.
The constant has been a Les Paul. And a couple of years ago, I sort of got the opportunity to start talking to and working on a signature model Les Paul, and what a thrill! You know, it's Lamb of God. You know, I play a lot of different kinds of music, but obviously, most notably, Lamb of God. So it is very much a heavy metal oriented Les Paul. It's on the Les Paul Modern platform, so it has the slim taper neck, and it's got that like shaved heel, so you can really access the higher frets. It's a real sleek looking guitar. It's like a satin finish, trans black.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's great.
It's real cool. Yeah,
awesome. Even just the way you're talking about it now, I can tell you're so stoked.
I love it, man. I love it. I love playing it. I love the whole process. I love the people I work with there. It's super cool.
Do you think, if you went back to an 18-year-old Mark Morton and said you're going to have a signature Gibson? It's a Gibson Les Paul.
It's a Gibson Les Paul. Yeah, no, it's a Gibson Les Paul. It's zero chance I would believe that.
Yeah. A similar thing with me. Recently, I had got a cymbal out with Zildjian. It was a prototype. Then it went into the K line as my thing, and it was just like, it felt like I've not achieved anything near what you've achieved in your life, but it felt like the pinnacle moment of my music career, because it's Zildjian. I fucking grew up, it's like Lars is playing Zildjian, like, and it's like, wait, there's one and it's mine. And it's been out for a year, and I'm still just every day I'm like, I got a cymbal with Zildjian.
I know. We get to do cool shit. That's a thing my wife and I say all the time. We'll like be reflecting on something that's happened, or somewhere we went, or some event, or, you know, something we've done with the kids or whatever. I'm just like, man, we get to do cool shit.
We get to do some cool shit. I'm pretty sure you say that all the time as well. Yeah, also. Yeah. When we do something cool shit.
Yeah.
That wedding the other day that you were also at. Cool shit.
That was cool shit.
Wait, speaking of that wedding, this is a bit of a clickbaity question, but it actually wasn't designed for that, but it's more like me thinking about the wedding, thinking about Sharon Osbourne. You did Ozzfest twice. You ever meet Ozzy?
I have met Ozzy, yes, just briefly. I've never had like a real locked-in conversation with Ozzy. My favorite Ozzy story is we were on tour with Black Sabbath. I think it was that 2004 tour with Black Sabbath.
Crazy sentence.
Yeah. And it was one of these places where there's like this big like amphitheater or something, and there's these like kind of long like cinder block hallways behind the underneath or whatever, going down to whatever, guts of the building. And I was walking somewhere in that little maze of tunnels, halls, and Ozzy and his assistant he was walking off stage, and it was just them two. And he passed me in the hallway, just walking past me, and he just said, "Hey man, what's up?" And I mean, like I have been around like far less impactful celebrities or musicians or whatever the word, you know what I mean? Like, who won't even like look at you. And that's fine. Like you don't owe me nothing. You know what I mean? Be where you're at. But that's my favorite Ozzy story, because he didn't have to.
Just a guy.
He was like, "Hey man, what's up?"
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
R.I.P. I don't want to go into it because any of the stuff we mentioned at the beginning, sobriety, all that stuff, is all in your book.
Yeah.
Desolation. I just have one question on that, which was, did you write it?
Every word.
Every word? Every
single word. Yeah, there was no dictation. There was no...
That's what I was going to say. Or did someone help? Or like...
No, someone helped. So Ben Opipari, it's listed with Ben Opipari as the like co-writer. But I wrote every single word, and Ben really just kind of cleaned stuff up. I have a tendency to write like I talk, which is... I'll say things twice in a row.
I like the way you talk. It's perfect for me.
Well, it doesn't read very well when I just, and so the funny thing about writing 100,000 word book is that I don't type very well at all. And so I was really just kind of like forefingering my laptop all the way through the book. But I got it done, but it took a long time, just in the impracticality of not really being a very good typer. Can't type very well at all.
Can write a book, can't say the word type. How long did it take? That's what I wanted to know.
Well, I had 2 years to do it because I asked for an extension at one point of like 6 months. I think it was going to be 18 months, and then I asked for an extension. Maybe at a year, I probably had like 4 or 5 chapters. So that last 8 or 9 months, I was hustling. I wrote it on tour, like worldwide. So it really took me probably 4 or 5 months of like getting into a hotel room and not panic, because I would get into a hotel room on tour for a day off or whatever, and be like, okay, I gotta write a chapter or 2 chapters today. It was like really, and I had a couple like stories that I figured I should write about, but every time I sat down to write a chapter, I was just freestyling. So if I wrote, chapter 5 again, it would be completely different because I was just freestyling.
That's insane.
It was pretty insane.
How long did the audiobook recording take?
So that's funny. Someone was texting me about that today because a friend of theirs was doing one and they wanted to know, what logistically it took. So that was, I did it in 5 days, and they were about 6-hour days.
6 hours. That's not as bad as I thought it would be.
It got faster. It's a skill set, as that you have, recording oneself talking, and
it's cool that you did that. I think it's really
there were a couple stories, one in particular, but there are a couple stories in that book that I just couldn't stomach the idea of someone else giving voice to.
Yeah. And it's so, people are listening to audiobooks all the time these days, and it's just so much more authentic coming from the source.
Yeah.
Which came first, the publisher or the book?
My co-writer, he's called a co-writer again. He didn't write, but he tidied things up quite a bit and kept it organized.
His AI. My AI assistant.
My AI is, no, certainly not. was a friend before we did this, and he has a place down in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, which I go with my family pretty much every year. It's like our beach spot. And anyway, we were down there together having coffee, and I was telling some story about band stuff, you know. And he was like, "Man, you really have a book in you." And I was like, "I don't know about that. I don't even read books." He's like, "No, we should just see if we can go into, let's do this. You write that story you just told me, write that out in a chapter, and I'll clean it up, and then we'll send it and see if we can get a book deal." And that's exactly how it happened. We sent it to
awesome.
one. I did what he said. I wrote that story out. You know, we backed and forth, worked on it just a little bit, and then we sent it out and got a book deal.
Because it would be a shame if you wrote it all and then it didn't see the light of day.
It would be. Someone asked me that, or again, I've been getting a lot of book questions lately. Another friend of mine is writing a book, and my advice was write at least half the book.
Oh, really?
So that you don't run into what I ran into, which is I've got 4 chapters in 9 months
Deadline
to do it,
psychosis.
and now like I'm just
I
hustling.
fucking hate a deadline.
But it's I hate them too, but at the same time, there's value in not just being to like drag it out and keep working on stuff. Same with music, like.
Oh, I need one. I just hate them.
Yeah. Same. That is a futury vape, man.
It's disgusting.
Lights up and everything.
It's disgusting. It's my only...
I got so lucky
Real vice.
when I quit drinking and drugging and all that. The cigarette addiction just vanished.
It's amazing.
It was all interconnected into this fiending mindset, and once that was broken, I didn't want a cigarette. I bought all the vape stuff. I was like, I'm gonna switch to vaping, and I was like, more plugs and gadgets, and it was more annoying than
it also
was.
looks so lame.
Oh, I don't know. You know what looks lame about it to me the most is how many damn vape shops there are. Every corner is a vape shop. Like how many?
I feel the same way I do about vapes as I do about guns. Some people are unhappy with my opinion on guns.
Well, it would be informed by where you grew up and the culture with which you were raised.
No. I'm going to flip this on its head.
Okay.
Like, I think guns are cool,
Okay.
right? I do agree that they should be banned. If it was possible to, like, because in the UK we had one mass shooting.
Right.
And then everyone went, right, no guns. Guess what? No more mass shootings. That's never going to happen here. If they turned around tomorrow, I feel about vapes about the same way. Like, I'm going to quit vaping. It's on my to-do list, but you got to really want to do it. Right now, I don't really want to do it.
Yeah, you do have to.
But like, if they banned vapes tomorrow, I wouldn't, as a vapist, as a gang vapor, I would, yeah, got him. I would be like, yeah, that's the right move. I wouldn't be like, and it, gun, like, I don't have a gun yet on my thing, but I think guns are cool. I would responsibly own a gun and go to the range.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's cool. I'm a little boy. I think that's cool. However, if they banned them all, I'd be like, yes, that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. We need to talk about fucking music.
Okay, good.
You don't want to talk about guns.
We can talk about guns if you want. I've got.
Are you a gunsmith?
I've got a number of guns, and I think a couple that people think would be crazy or whatever. But I'm also of the opinion that they were probably too easy to get.
Yeah. See, same thing.
So I feel like
responsible.
most things, I find myself kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Like I can't. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to have a gun.
Yeah.
In the United States of America, I'm a law-abiding, responsible citizen.
But in retrospect, it was very easy to get that gun.
But I think it was probably a little too easy to get.
And I don't want to be a gun guy podcast, but we got from vapes to guns, which means the vaping.
It means we're in America, baby.
The vaping needs to be on the podcast, which is something I've been trying to avoid because I'm embarrassed by my vape addiction. Anyway, music.
All right, music. That's why we're here.
1 hour on the dot. We can talk about music. Into Oblivion.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
You like it?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not only do I like it, I fucking love it.
What do you love about it? I'm not trying to put you on the
I've got
spot.
it later on in the question. Okay.
But why do you love it? Because this is good intel for me.
You're going to ruin the order of my questions, but let's do it because it's a conversation.
Okay.
I hate press. I hate it. That's kind of the reason I started the podcast, was because there's no good press. I want people to just talk and people to watch and go, that guy's cool, I'll check his band out. Rather than like, when you were writing the album, like that festival press.
Because I'll get that, 3 dozen times.
You're going to get that, and I want you to leave this being like, that one was good. I'll do that next time.
Yeah,
when we win the Grammy.
I'm having a great time. Ooh,
wouldn't that be nice?
Ooh, that was a dig. That was
no,
shade.
it wasn't.
That was shade.
If it was,
that was shade. 5-time loser right here.
If it was a dig, I would have said, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Okay.
You were robbed, in my opinion. Anyway,
only on one.
Sacrament.
Yeah, the redneck.
Yeah, you were robbed.
I don't know that we were robbed, but that's the one.
Who won that year?
I think Slayer. Well, Slayer won that year.
For what record?
Exactly. And that's not. I love Slayer. I love Slayer. I love Carrie. I love Tom. I love Slayer, man.
Christ Illusion. Would it have been that one?
I honestly, Craig, I think it was not even. I think it was like.
I remember you getting
It was
robbed.
like a live version of a song that had already been released, but then it was Grammy available because it was released a different version.
I
one
remember
of those things.
robbing, like a real life robbing, not just it being Slayer. So if it's live, then yes, you were absolutely robbed.
Yeah, I could be wrong about that, but probably not. Because that one stung. I was like, man, that was a big moment. That Redneck was a big thing. Maybe it's dated now, or maybe it sounds like a time gone past, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Back to, okay, you asked me why do I like it?
Yeah. So what is it? You've heard the new record.
Multiple listens. In.
Okay, cool. It's really fascinating for me to hear your take on it, because I'm so immersed in it, that very fishbowl mind. So I'd love to hear what your take on it was, or what you like about it, what you feel was missing, what you feel was lacking. What did we do right?
I would love to be correct in my assumption. It sounds like, and it might just be, the reason I love it so much is because of my age. Early Lamb of God was my metal childhood. Like, once obviously I did Slayer and Metallica and all that stuff.
When did Lamb pop up on your horizon?
2007 Download Festival.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Main stage.
You were there?
Yes.
That was mental, as y'all say.
I think I had listened to Lamb of God before that. Oh no, it would have been, no, that was just a pivotal. I think that was the first time I saw you guys. Okay. Because
that was a crazy show.
Ashes of the Wake was the one that got me.
So when the album came out,
it was specifically the videos of Chris and Willie playing the drum videos. And I was,
of course, because you're
big drum nerd.
Yeah,
and those came out, and I was like, holy shit, what? And then got into Lamb of God from there. But like at that, I think that was Modern Drummer,
right?
2003, maybe 2004. I'm 16 at that point. So I already, I listened to Metallica, I already listened to metal, and a bit of punk and a bit of hardcore. And then Ashes of the Wake, I'm like, holy fucking shit. So, I dig backwards from Ashes of the Wake. Obviously, Sacrament comes out after that. Sacrament after Ashes of the Wake? Yeah. Professional. And that's me noticing, there's this new type of heavy metal that's coming out. And so I have a really nostalgic part of that. You want to know something fucking crazy? 2024 Spotify Wrapped, most listened to album, the remix of As the Palaces Burn. Because I listen to it in the gym all the fucking time. So I have a real side note, don't want to get into it. One of very few albums in history that I believe needed a remix. Mm-hmm. People do the remix.
It's usually a bum out or inconsequential, one of the two.
Dimmu Borgir, Puritanical, recently remixed.
They remixed that?
No need.
I don't want that remixed. I love that record.
I know.
I didn't even know they remixed it.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Seems like a cash grab. But Ashes of the Wake is like one. No, As the Palaces Burn is like one of few records that I loved when they came out or whatever, but I would listen to and be like, oh, just imagine that with a decent mix. Anyway, long story short, pivotal in my sort of discovering of this new wave of heavy metal. So there's a nostalgic part of me in those records, and this record feels like those records.
Okay.
Now, am I wrong? That you've am I looking through rose-tinted spectacles, or was there a conscious decision to bring a bit of the old back?
So I'll tell you, we all come into these things with our own perspective and mindset. It's Lamb of God is very collaborative, and there's no meeting before we get going about what our premise is going to be or anything like that. But I do think collectively we're having conversations about, well, what is it that we've gotten away from? Not because anything's necessarily wrong, because some of the more recent work feel really excited about. Ditch is a monster. We play that from the last album. We play that almost every night. And Resurrection Man. Those are all new songs that are big in the live show, and we're into. Memento Mori was massive. But it's like, what have we gotten away from that was really at the genesis of this thing, that was really like the cornerstones that we built it on? And so two things happened for me. We did, and I don't remember exactly where we were in the writing process, but we did a tour that was the Ashes of the Wake 20-year tour. So that had us and me going into those songs and learning them inside out. Some of those songs, I think a couple of the songs we'd never played live. I don't know the stats on that, but certainly most of them we hadn't played in a long time, right?
Yeah.
So I was digging into those songs. So when you learn something like that and rehearse it so much, you start to understand the patterns that you're not really, I don't really do that move anymore. You know what I mean? But I'm doing it now because I'm learning this thing that's 20 years old. And kind of jumping off of that, I also, rather than like go back and listen to Palaces or go listen to gospel, which, I've listened to those records from time to time just to like nostalgic,
You should check
for
out.
me as well.
You should check out the remix, bro.
But yeah, I have. But it's definitely an improvement. But so for me, like I decided to kind of start going back to the music that I was listening to when we wrote those records.
Oh.
So I started going back and listening to The Haunted and to At the Gates and to, early Meshuggah and all that kind of Swedish stuff that I was so excited about at that point in time. There was a time that Haunted made me do it record, man. I was
so good,
burning that thing down. Yeah, it's so good. And Slaughter of the Soul At the Gates, that's just like absolute classic record. So just kind of going back there and like getting excited about tapping back into my excitement around those bodies of work, and then allowing that to inspire what I was doing when I was picking up a guitar again.
So I'm right.
Yeah.
I was really worrying about that question because I didn't want you to go.
Well, I don't think it sounds like Ashes or like Palaces or anything. I'm not. Yeah, but so in that sense, yeah. So like I'm not like, and I interrupted you, but there's no part of that question that would be offensive. But
I thought you might think that you, I thought that you may think that I'm saying it sounds just like those, but to me it just sounds like someone.
No way, because I know the record. It doesn't sound like what I mean. Yeah,
exactly how you just mentioned it. Like you tapped back in. It's interesting that you didn't tap into your old stuff, but you tapped in
to what inspired
bands.
The old stuff.
And it's funny you said early Meshuggah because I did often wonder where the Lamb of God breakdown sort of stuff in the early stuff was influenced by.
Yeah, I mean, Destroy, Race, Improve, like
my favorite band of all time, Meshuggah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorite metal records for sure.
Unreal. Not
some of the stuff, they get so abstract that I don't, I'm probably impatient as a listener for some
Yeah.
of the stuff that they've evolved into. And that's not a criticism. It
No.
just means like for me, like the sort of essence of the basic groove that Destroy, Erase, Improve has, that weird like groove with an extra angle,
Yeah.
but it still grooves. Like that was a big influence.
Yeah. The crazy thing about that record, not with a click.
Yeah, that's not crazy to me.
I mean, given the contents of it, it's kind of crazy to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like, you're doing that without a click? You guys are just really good. Like,
Right.
fucking insanity. Was there Lamb of God albums without a click?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Gospel didn't have a click.
No click.
Burn the Priest record didn't have a click. Palaces probably had a click. We don't use one live though.
Yeah. You got fucking Art Cruz on the drums. Might as well be a click.
We do.
That guy, I know Art from way back.
Yeah.
Great guy.
He is a great guy.
I feel like one of two things happened with Art's performance on this record, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He either felt more comfortable to spread his wings, or you guys let him spread his wings more on this record. Any truth in either of those statements?
I think he felt more comfortable. I think we, this is Art's third record.
Mm-hmm.
So the self-titled record, I think there was probably a little bit of more intense focus on the drum parts, just because we didn't, we had such a large body of work with Chris, and that sound is it's the Lamb of God sound. So to change drummers and have the drums be like drastically different didn't feel right for us. It didn't feel fair to anybody, including the listeners, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got into Lamb of God through the drum videos. So
Yeah. And Art, the beauty of Art being our drummer is he is such a big fan of the body of work of Lamb of God. And that's become a resource for us when we're songwriting, because we can get a perspective from Art that we don't have ourselves. We can be like, he can say things like, well, Lamb of God in 2009 would have done this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I can hear it.
And we trust that perspective because, we know how important the band's music was to him coming up and how formative it was for him. So he's in a unique position to be able to honor that sound and also run with it, which he has done. So I think on the self-titled record, the drums were treated a little more conservative in terms of making big sweeping changes stylistically. And then over the course of the Omens record and now Into Oblivion, you see that sort of evolving.
Yeah, he's
as it should.
He's popping his pussy on this one. And there's so many little callbacks to just like to early Lamb of God, like the fills. I'm gonna talk all about drums, you're a guitarist, but like the fills where he's just cutting into the bell during a fill.
Yeah.
And that fill is also a groove. It's like that's
the bridge on St. Catherine's Wheel, the drums on that.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know if you picked up yet,
Yeah.
but that's like one of my favorite recorded Lamb of God drum performances.
Absolutely fucking smashed it. You know what my favorite part in the album is? Speaking of riffs. Let's see. I'll do this from fucking memory.
Good luck. I don't think I
can.
will be able to. I doubt
The fast riff about 3/4 of the way through, maybe halfway through Sepsis.
Oh,
Fucking banger riff.
yeah.
Unreal riff. And now you've mentioned the Haunted and At the Gates, and I'm like, yeah, that just makes so much fucking sense. It doesn't sound like them, but it sounds like a guy that loved those fucking records.
Yeah.
I kind of top out with the Haunted. One Kill Wonder was, I didn't really, Revolver, it's not that I didn't like it, I just didn't really, I think I've gone mega into like death metal at that point or something, but Haunted made me do it. The Haunted.
Yeah.
One Kill Wonder, just fucking, extreme riffs. I can't play the guitar to save my life, but I fucking love a riff.
If you could, you'd want to play like that, right?
I would love to. Yeah, that's why you do it. Like, they got to feel good, those kind of riffs.
That groove, yeah. I mean,
I'm sure you saw them, but like before he passed, seeing At the Gates play Slaughter of the Soul.
I never saw At the Gates.
Oh my God.
I never got to see
That's crazy. That's a tragedy.
Yeah.
I'd seen him at a festival whenever, like a while ago, and then I saw them do Slaughter of the Soul from front to back on, I think it was last summer, and it was just fucking incredible. It was me and, who was it? Me, Will Putney, and Pat Sheridan just at the side of the stage, just fucking, this is amazing.
That's sick. I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah. Speaking of Fit for an Autopsy, you have
The homies.
You have such a good fucking tour coming up.
Yeah.
March, April. I had a question on it. So it's Lamb of God. Forgive me if the order is wrong. Lamb of God.
Yep.
Kubla Khan.
Yeah.
Fit for an Autopsy. Sanguisugabog. Unreal lineup. I believe the tagline is the heaviest tour of the year, and it fucking is.
Is it not? I don't know.
I love every single one of those bands.
Yeah.
And you're playing in Nashville, so I'll fucking be there.
Awesome. And we're friends now, so we can hang.
Fuck yeah. I was secretly hoping that. I was talking about that earlier. I was like, I wonder if we'll be friends.
Last time I saw you, you totally ignored me.
No, you ignored me too.
Straight up fucking big time.
Oh, sorry, I can't be Aussie and say what's up.
Yeah, even Ozzy speaks to me.
Look, we both were going to talk to each other. What I wanted to ask is like, is picking those kind of bands still in the hands of you guys? Is like, do you?
Yeah,
you're picking.
Yeah,
your band's really fucking big. I don't really know how it works when you really
right.
Big.
Sure,
like,
sure. I mean,
is someone else making those decisions.
Yeah, so right, we have a team of people from management and booking, et cetera, et cetera. You know, Lamb of God is a big band, and there's a big organization associated with it, and but yeah, there's suggestions. First of all, booking a tour, you have to see who's available. And then you have to see who's interested. And then you have to see if you can afford it, how much money they want, what's reasonable, all those kind of things that matter, But once you start, like, it's sort of like a collective process of massaging all those things into place to get the coolest tour you can.
Yeah.
And I like the one we got this time.
Yeah.
It just feels like heavy and cool and
yeah, it's fucking great.
And just the real.
It feels like the sort of tour maybe Lamb of God would have been in Kubla Khan's position on the tour in like 2004, 2000. You know what I mean? Like one of those tours where it's just like real fucking heavy new music. Like everyone's new pretty much.
Yeah, or in Fit For's position in 2000.
No, I get
too. You know what I mean? It's like one of those tours. It's like it's a real metal tour. Not that I don't know. We do metal tours, but there's like this one feels grimy and cool and heavy.
Sanguisugabog is one of my favorite albums of last year. I love that album.
I haven't seen them yet. I'm looking forward to seeing them.
I haven't seen them either, but big fan.
I've seen everybody else.
Big fan of what they're doing with death metal now. There's a lot of like the revival death metal stuff, which I do like. It has it's almost completely a copy of the 90s death metal sound, which, I like still, but I did also like it earlier, and I still like those records. But Sanguisugabog just notch it up a little bit with slightly more complex patterns. Oh, here's a weird drum bit or whatever, like just injecting that new blood into it. I fucking love that band.
It's going to be a great tour.
You recorded it in 3 different studios.
Yeah.
Drums in Richmond.
Vocals in LA.
Guitars and bass at yours.
At the crib, yeah.
You got a little studio set up there?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
He's a rigsman. Was Josh Wilbur, longtime producer?
Yeah.
Did he come and do that with you? Or
he did. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, sick. So I was wondering if it was more of, you just did it and then there it goes.
No. He comes out a bunch. Like, so he'll come out when we're writing and we'll do demos together.
That's where I was getting.
And we're kind of like putting songs together and writing, rewriting. And that's usually getting music together. It's a lot of times me, Willie, and Josh just kind of like stringing riffs out and trying to get sort of structures, just basic outlines of songs. And then as things start to get, a little put together where it's something to listen to, then we start bringing everyone else in to hear it, see what they like, see what they don't like, see what ideas they have for it, so
Yeah.
it's just sort of this kind of blooming sort of situation.
I did wonder, because when I saw all three of those studios, I was like, yeah, but how's he producing? That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
If you don't mind going real nerdy about that, how are you writing those initial demos? You, Willie, and Josh.
That starts independently with Willie and I, where he has a workstation set up at home as well. And we will, in between tours or whatever downtime, just start kind of constructing ideas. I don't remember actually which, he might use Cubase.
Yeah.
I use Logic.
Same. Big up the Logic.
Yeah. And I'll just riff with like real basic, like easy drummer drums and, kind of put riffs together and just get a loose, like rough draft of a song. Willie is way more into making Willie's demos sound cool.
Oh, he's one of those.
Yeah, he's like putting like 808s and stuff on his demos.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, they sound sick. Mine don't. They sound like a 4-track. You know what I mean? Well, and then when we have some stuff, or when it's time to start looking at what we have, we'll just kind of show up and hang out. Josh usually come out for that.
Yeah.
And we'll just listen to demos and see what's cool. And him and I both usually, if we have 7 demos, we've usually written the same song twice. In our batch, there's like version A of this song and then version B of the same song. Or
I bet that works well to like take a couple of sections.
Yeah, we call this parts cars. It's like
the
salvage yard. You just kind of, this bridge is cooler. Let's use that.
And then, so you will then sit with Josh and flesh those out into a full song?
Well, into a draft.
Yeah, like an arrangement-wise.
Yeah.
And then it will go to the other guys.
Well, depending on the song, it does no, because like Randy will come in and listen to stuff.
Yeah.
And be like, I like that one. Can you like send me that one? I want to write to that. That one's grabbing me right now. Or Art will come in and we'll have a V kit set up, and he's like, let me take a couple passes at this and see if I can see what's feeling cool.
Come up with something.
Spicy. Yeah. And Campbell will typically wait until the song is outlined, learn the riffs, and then decide, whether he wants to lock in, whether he wants to leave more space and stuff. So everyone's really contributing. Yeah.
Yeah. What I was trying to weasel out of you is everyone jamming in their own way with these demos? And I guess they are.
They are, and then we will play them as a band as well. So we're set up at my place. Well, like we rehearse at my place too. So we're all set up right there. So
is that once everyone has agreed this is going to be a song?
No.
You'll jam before. You'll jam on a maybe.
We jammed a bunch of songs that got
jamming on a maybe
for sure.
Burning money and time. Good for you.
It's not, because it's in my house.
Oh yeah, true. Everyone else has to. I'd be so pissed off if I'm traveling to jam a song that doesn't fucking exist. No, I wouldn't really. That's cool. That's almost to the letter what Straight from the Path used to do. We would do me, Tom, write our own stuff. Me, Tom, and Will have a little week together.
Yeah.
Make them pretty much songs. Send them to everyone else. I want to do this. Why don't this be 2 bars longer? All that stuff. But we didn't do the jamming bit.
Yeah.
So jamming sound check, I guess, but not.
Sometimes Willie always wants to jam at soundtrack, and like Willie is an absolute encyclopedia of riffs. You'll be like, Willie, what was that song on Wrath? It's like track 7, and he'll be like, what's it called? And somebody say it, and he'll be like, oh, and he'll just play it. You know what I mean?
Sick.
Whereas I gotta learn everything. I'm on YouTube, like finding people like
playing
my songs and learning it from that.
That's cool as fuck.
For sure. Yeah, I do that.
Do you ever leave a comment?
No, I don't know if I know how to leave. I don't have like.
Do me a favor, because it will make someone's day. Next time you actively have to do that,
figure out how to leave a comment.
Leave a comment saying, "Just help me relearn this." That would be so fucking kiddie.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you my Herman Lee story. This is back. I've met Herman. I don't know him very well. We've met and said hello, but he's a monster, right? Monster guitar.
Dragon Force for anyone that doesn't know.
Absolute shredder. And this was, I don't know, when was this? Like around Wrath, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it was on Grace. Yeah, there's a song called Grace. It's a cool song. And this was around, I think we were all still on message boards back then, and everyone was like, Morton can't sweep. You know,
Oh, really?
everybody was sweeping. Morton can't sweep or whatever. So I got on YouTube, and like Herman Lee had this like sweep tutorial, and I literally learned the first one on it. And it's in Grace, and then it's again in Ghost Walk, and it's like the exact same lick, and I just straight up learned it from Herman on
and you learned it because people were talking shit.
yeah,
and you
because they said I can't sweep. I was like, all right, well, you know, I'm gonna learn the sweep and then take like 50 passes at it in the studio, and I'll catch one of them.
That's fucking awesome. However, what would this new Mark Morton, who doesn't care about the internet, who lives in the woods,
for
with
someone who
his
doesn't
kids-
care about the internet, I'm on the internet.
Do you think that would bother you now? It's not even. That's like the final boss of licks, isn't it? The sweep.
I don't know. I mean,
You got the rest.
You know what I figured out along the way, through like lots of time with imposter syndrome, is that I don't know, man. I got a thing. You know, it's like hard though. You probably go through this too. It's like why are some of my friends that are, you know, way better players than me technically or whatever, not having the success that I've had or whatever? It doesn't feel fair.
I have the opposite problem,
Which is what? How,
I mean,
in what sense?
I don't. I think I have. I don't have it about music. I have it weirdly about the podcast.
Okay.
People, I see my friends trying to do. I say like a clothing line. I've got a clothing line. So I guess it's not the opposite. It's just different. The music thing, I have insane imposter syndrome to the point where I'm just very lucky if I get to play a tour. I'm just like, cool. I guess people care. Like, I don't think I'm a good drummer. Like, that's just a thing that I have. But with like the clothing line or the podcast, I will see friends and give them advice on how to do similar things. And then it doesn't blow up for them. And I do have that imposter syndrome there where I'm like, why is it not blowing up for them? Is this all going to go away? Am I bad at it?
I think I just figured out that like I just have a thing, and I'm around. Fortunately, found my way into a group of guys where they make my thing cooler,
Yeah.
and I make their bit balance it out with something. It's like me and Willie. Like we play so differently, so remarkably differently. And I'm real like ham-fisted and kind of like swaggy behind the beat, and he's just like dead ass on it. And he plays very like a lot of patterns and stuff, where I'm more just kind of a blues rock player, you know. But the dynamic between these two styles, it just has this a synergy. It's like greater than the sum of its parts. And so instead of like beating myself up about what I'm not good at, I'm just kind of like, I bring this to the table and it's useful in this environment, and that's cool.
It's nice that you can feel like that and not be like me. Imposter syndrome to the max about everything I fucking do.
You don't have to feel that way.
I do though.
No, you don't. You do. I believe you when you say you feel that way, but believe me when I say you don't have to.
I'm gonna get good at the drums.
You are good at the drums.
I'm gonna get really good at the drums this year. I got
For
I got a
what?
drum lesson tomorrow.
Listen, man, let me tell you something.
I'm going for a drum
That's
lesson.
great. Drum lessons are great. I haven't taken a guitar lesson in a minute, but I have.
Before you say your statement, who would you take a guitar lesson off if you had to?
There's some cats in Nashville that I would love to take. I'd love to. I don't know what he would do with me, but Guthrie Trapp, that would be cool to take a lesson from him. Do you know?
No.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Guthrie Govan.
Oh, well, that would be fun too.
I've met him. He's from the UK, isn't he?
I hit up Johnny Denice that plays with Anthrax, and is in Shadow's Fall. They're doing stuff again. I've asked him a couple times for a lesson. We just never get it together, and it's just because you can learn from that guy's a great player. I mean,
That's my New Year's resolution: get good at the drums.
you are good at the drums.
Thank you, but I'm going to get really good. I don't feel good. I also had 6 weeks off. Our band split up, and then it was the holidays, and I was like, I'm just not going to play drums because it makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, let's fucking go. I've got a lesson with Matt Gasker tomorrow from Animals as Leaders.
Cool.
So good at the drums. Expensive. Expensive for a mate. No, do you know what? He said he'd do it for free.
Expensive for a mate.
Do you know what? He said he'd do it for free, and I was like, I'm going to fucking pay you, bro. You are
you don't want it for free.
You are an artist, and I hate AI. Mark loves it.
It'll mean more to you if you pay for it.
100%. I want to get my fucking money's worth. So Josh has done everything since Wrath.
Since he did Wrath, he's done everything since Sacrament. Yeah, he started with Wrath.
Yeah, sorry.
Wrath was his first production. Josh was an engineer. So
Really?
his first ever like production was Wrath. It was number 2 on the Billboard charts.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Side tangent, just while we're on it. I met Machine in 2013.
Okay.
And I must have punished the fuck out of him.
Oh, yeah. He loves it. He loves it.
The minute I met him, like it was like a quick hello. I was playing I filled in for Vision of Disorder. So I was in.
Oh, cool.
I was in Jersey. So I went to Machine Shop, which then became Graphic Nature Will Studio. But met Machine.
In Hoboken? He had a spot. I think it was the first.
Belleville.
He had a spot that was upstairs.
Yeah, Belleville.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know my geography. Maybe it's near Hoboken, but really cold, long street.
Oh, wait. No. Hoboken was where we did the record. That was at Water Music. Yeah. And I know. The spot, it was upstairs, like 3rd floor or something like that.
Yeah. I met Machine and I punished him about the Sacrament drum sound. Like,
oh, yeah.
Three sentences in. How you doing? Introduce me. He's playing drums for us for this thing. Blah blah blah. Wanted to come by the shop. Funny enough, Will was downstairs working on something else, and I'd never met him before. Didn't meet him for about 5 years afterwards. But I punished him about that Sacrament drum sound.
He
loved it.
Did he give up the ghost?
Oh, you did give up the ghost.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. Don't know if you want to go into that.
I mean, I don't mind, but we probably shouldn't.
We probably fucking shouldn't. I don't think I want to open that can of worms.
No.
Sounds great, though.
It does.
Anyway. So my question
we did that perfect, by the way.
Yeah, my question was, why do you think Josh has lasted so long? Because finding a producer is difficult.
You mean on his career or working with us?
With you guys. Not in his career. He's great.
Well, trust, yeah. And trust in the sense of like, not trust like he's going to rip us off or he's going to like creative, like artistic trust. Like, this is more like hokey stuff, but it's just true. And so here we go. When you are being creative with someone, there is a certain amount of vulnerability that if you're not willing to be vulnerable and open and do things that you're scared to do, you're not gonna hit new heights with your creativity. You're not gonna tap into something special, in my experience. And so in order to do that, an artist who's working in a collective, which is what a band and a band producer situation is, you have to be in rooms with people that you feel safe to get uneasy and scared with, right? That's really important. And that's why it's so special when, and you just kind of have it like, Josh just really, really understands our personalities and what we're going to gravitate to out of comfort and what we're going to be scared to do. And he has the patience to say, when I'm saying I can't play it like that, and he's like, quit saying I can't, just keep. You've only been trying for 5 minutes. Like, just like, I'm not in a hurry. Like, find the bit. You know what I mean? And just, he just has a way of like coaching us along and knowing the potential of the band and knowing how to push that in a way that's not. He just feels like one of us.
Yeah.
Did I say anything?
No, you said everything.
Yeah.
I mean, in my head, I've just got. I just remember Will Putney. Like, that's how I feel about Will. We did every single Stray record with Will.
And it doesn't even, and because I'm thinking about Chester, it doesn't even have to be this long history of building experience. I cut Cross off with Chester Bennington, and we had just met, and we finished that song writing it together. And the experience I had writing that with him, who, we had mutual respect and we had talked, but we'd never been in a room like that together. and to be able to say no to each other's ideas in a way that wasn't.
This is you and Chester Bennington.
Yeah. And just to be able to like work with somebody, because he was willing to be like, to have an idea that and have it fail.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
And not get, and go on to the, you know what I mean?
And that's the same. I was gonna say, does Josh ever tell you, like, and obviously he does, it tells you if something's not good.
Yeah.
That's like
sure.
number one most important thing. You can't have a yes man. I think that was the most important thing with Will in our relationship, was he just, to his fault sometimes would be, to his fault with other people who couldn't take the heat, but he will just tell you if he doesn't like something as blunt as possible, so we can just move on. And I feel like that's kind of what you're saying about the same sort of situation with Chester, like someone being vulnerable enough, having this idea, and then maybe not Chester, whatever we were talking about.
Well, the thing with Chester is like, cross off in specifically, there's the bridge section of the song, he's kind of like rapping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when he came into the session, he wanted that to be the verse.
Yeah.
And he was really fired up about it. And, so here I am. I'm just now, at a table like me and you, talking about the song that we're finishing up together, that we both love the song, and we're trying to like finish the vocal, like finish writing the vocal and then cut and track it that day, And here I am, about to tell Chester Bennington that I don't like his idea for the verse.
Okay, so how do you tell Chester that?
Well, you
don't like it?
You just do, because you care enough about the song, and you get in a vibe from this person that
he can take it.
That you can take it,
yeah.
and I can take whatever he comes back with. You know what I mean? Because he's a pro, I'm a pro, and like we both clearly love this song. So hey, man, what would you think of if we? I love the vocal and I love the lyrics, but what do you think if we try that over the bridge?
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, let's run it. Let's see if it sits.
Perfect answer.
R.I.P.
Fucking tragedy.
Fucking man.
And the rest is history.
But that's the point, is not to like, we all love Chester, but the point is just to say, like, when you are creating something with someone and you both really care about it, there is a vulnerability involved. If you don't give a shit, okay, cool.
You can care too much, though.
Can you?
If he'd have come back and said, no, it's like this, then what happens? You said, no, if he goes...
Well, I don't know. That's not what happened.
I don't think true artists that make our kind of music are really gonna, push back that much if they respect the other person.
Well, my thing too, so now going into my band, if I care about something but it's on a 4 out of 10,
your care level is a 4 out of 10
or a 6 out of 10, somewhere in the middle of the care meter,
Sharknado
and
Twister. Just trying to think of a 4 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10. Sorry, carry on.
And Randy is 9 out of 10. I'm not gonna, and regardless, because I write lyrics for the band too, regardless if it's lyrics or like a musical thing, if he cares, if it's really like, if it's just me and Randy, we're talking about it, and he's like, dude, you know what I mean? No, like it's really, this is what, then if that, and it can be anybody, but it's like, if you feel that much stronger than me,
and you're at 6,
then you're probably right.
You're right, or I don't care enough to ruin your day.
If I don't care enough about it, and you do care that much about it, and I trust your artistry, then you must be on to something that I'm not.
I'd love to make music.
I don't have that frequency.
You sound like a
right
treat.
Now. But the flip side of that is, if I'm a 9 out of 10, like,
you're fucking.
Just don't even talk to me. Let me put this bit down.
It's a 9.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'll tell you when I'm done, and then you come. You know what I mean? Like,
do you have these conversations with people? Like, where are you at this riff? I'm at a 9.
No, I don't. We don't like. I don't. We don't quantify. You can just tell. I mean, these are my brothers.
I was going to say there's a running bit.
Sometimes it's like that's just Willie's tune. Don't touch it. You know what I
okay.
mean? Like wait till he's done and let me see if I hear anything. You know what I
Is
mean?
Josh the final word though? If there's a headlock,
He's not the final, but he has a voice for sure. Oh, you mean if there's like a well,
2 people are 9 out of 10 on their own idea. 10 out of 10. Fuck it, the full load.
well, you know we're a band of 5, right?
Okay.
Or if it's just I don't know. Usually, here's the other thing to this. If it's really that divided, then maybe there's another answer. But then what you don't want to do.
This is why you've lasted so long.
What you
This
don't want to do is
diplomatic.
go around the room and make sure everyone has their little change so that everyone feels involved. Because then you just water the whole thing down. You know what I mean? Just like let the people who feel most passionate about a certain song, about a certain part, about a certain issue in the process. If someone's really, let them lead.
That's how you're going to get
Let
the best
them lead.
shit.
And if you are in a collective, a band, a collective of artistic people who you trust their artistry, then it's not a scary thing. It's certainly not as scary a thing to let one of your partners lead. It's the same in a marriage, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things where I will absolutely, and I hate to say let because I'm not giving her permission, but there are things where my wife should lead that conversation for sure. And then there are aspects of our parenting, our relationship, or our day-to-day where I should lead. I'm better equipped to lead that situation, you know. And a band is like that times 5.
A band is literally like having 5 wives.
Yeah.
My wives. Sorry, couldn't fucking resist. 38 years old. I think that's why you've lasted so long. That sounds like a very diplomatic way of doing things.
It wasn't always. That's hard-won experience, man.
Yeah.
That's hard-won experience. If you caught us, you know, there was just some really dark times in the band.
I know.
Personally, personally, as individuals, as a band, events, situations, like really, really tough stuff over the course. It's like to look back on some of that stuff. It's crazy.
I do have a slightly more positive question that will then lead to that. Was there a moment where you thought, okay, I've done it, I've made it? We mentioned a lot of things on this podcast so far. It would have been it for me, but I'm just wondering.
I want to answer that like authentically. So there were so many moments along the way where I was able to, you know, be present for what was happening enough to say, man, I would have never imagined that we would get this far. But Craig, those things were happening in 2002. Like, we really are a band that started in like a moldy brick basement in Richmond and just wanted to get a case of beer and make a bunch of noise for a couple hours on a Friday night. Like, that was fun for us. And then when someone like invited us to play their party, great. You know, the first time we got, you know, out of town and played a show because one of us had a van and we went and played a show or wherever, you know, the first time we had T-shirts printed, the first time.
God, I never think about that one. Everything you've just said, I'm like, yeah, I remember that.
Remember
but
when
like,
you got your first
it was
band's
amazing.
T-shirt? You're like, wow, you know.
It was
the
amazing.
First time, you know, you had first time you went in the studio as a band. The first time you had you know, the Burn the Priest CD was made.
Physical media.
Yeah,
first
like
one.
yeah. Really, like every single step, every rung of the ladder, I'd like to say when I'm talking about this, like we didn't skip a single one.
So they're still coming.
And so, yeah, and you know, now, you know, I'm just, you know, we are aware of our position, you know, in the music industry or in the metal world or whatever. So, you know, we can reflect a little bit and see generations under us, bands under us that are blowing up and doing their thing and just kind of be like, it's cool to watch. You know? It's cool to see that happen because I know how exciting it is. Because I've been there. I know how exciting it is to see bands that are blowing up right now, like Knock Loose. You know, they're just huge, right? And I'm just like, I love that.
Have you toured with Knock Loose?
No, I don't really know those cats. I just kind of like
fucking best.
Yeah, from Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Just like joy as a spectator because I know how fun that is.
Yeah. They're so fucking young.
I know, right? And I know how exciting that is. And
get that tour going. Get that. Fuck me, that's a tour. Lamb of God, knock loose, let's go. You heard it here first. I'm making that fucking call.
I mean, but we could, that's just the band I thought of, but we can name, a dozen bands right now.
I know, but that's the one you thought of.
Yeah.
That means they're the best.
But it's, so it's a really, from a place of gratitude to be able to like watch that happen for younger people. And just like I was talking that club show I went to where my brother-in-law was playing, just to see young people embracing music and have the principles, the essence of it be exactly the same as it was for me when I was coming up in bands, and to know that foundation and that purpose and that meaning is still there for kids that I'm old enough to be their dad. It's comforting. It makes me feel good because it's again, back to the premise of this thing. All is not lost, Craig.
Yeah, but I
have lost. The spirit of all these things still exists as much as it ever did.
I'm bringing it back. Back to AI. Exactly. I'm still like, you're saying these things and I love it and I agree and all that. And I just think, people, there's going to be people that lose that because they can just make it on a computer and they're not going to go into a jam room. That makes me a little bit sick.
Well,
what if that happens? Then I guess there'd be even less bands. It'd be more special.
But that's what we said. That's what we said about drum machines. That's what we said about Pro Tools. That's what we said about samples and Guitar Pro or whatever. All these things. That's whatever, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Music is going to prevail.
Don't be so afraid.
You can say that. You're in Lamb of God. I'm not in Lamb of God. I can be scared until a point. Till a point where I'm in Lamb of God, I'll be scared and I can't play Lamb of God songs. So I'm shit out of luck there, and art is too good.
Maybe Art will give you a drum lesson.
You know what? I got a drum lesson third hand from Art the other day.
Did you?
We were just chatting about something, foot technique stuff, and he was like, "Oh, I got a lesson with this guy," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, he sent me that," and then he sent me it, and it was good. It was good stuff. Love that guy. Big fan. Where are we? Talking about fucking AI again.
You're obsessed.
I am. I don't know why.
It's eating your
lunch. It's just today. Do you know what I'm saying? Back to my bit. Back to my having a bit, right?
Yeah.
Today my bit is AI. Like, okay. I'm really fucking annoyed about AI today. But like tomorrow.
Lucky me.
Tomorrow, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sleep. You wanted to talk about it. I'm going to sleep on what you said. Tomorrow I'm probably going to be, AI is not a problem.
Who cares?
It's been therapy for me. Are you having fun? Are you having fun being my therapist?
You don't want that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You said that you had chickens?
Yes.
You have like a homestead? Is that what that is?
Well, you might call it that. We have chickens. I got 3 kids on 7 acres. We have a varying amount of chickens at any given point in time. We at one point had goats. I rehomed the goats. It was an absolute executive decision on my part. I take full responsibility and full accountability for rehoming the goats. We've had a number of beehives. I almost brought this up when we were talking about bees. I don't mess with bees. My wife my wife's crazy. So she just decides to do something and goes and wins the state fair. This year she was like, I'm gonna make some honey white bread, and she just blue ribbon state fair best white bread in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The year before, she makes like a fucking mean ass pickle, and she's like, I only got second place that time I put my pickles in there. It pissed me off. So blue ribbon first place pickles, zucchini relish. Who do you know that has a blue ribbon in state fair zucchini relish? My wife does. So, yeah, she's awesome.
Of course you don't care about AI.
And so, no, you can't. AI is not going to beat my wife's zucchini relish.
Let me fucking check with ChatGPT a minute.
And we grew the zucchinis in the front field. You know what I mean? It's like that. So, we have chickens, and she was doing the beekeeping, but bees are really fragile. They're really fragile. And the property next door, they're lovely people, and they run a lawn service. So we think that maybe some of the material or chemicals or fertilizer or something that they use we think the bees might have been bringing that back into the hives, and that was killing. because I keep. But we
Might have been what made the honey so good.
We don't. Well, we never
that
got
honey bread was banging.
Yeah,
because it had fucking Roundup in it.
We used honey from a local farm, but not. It wasn't our honey.
Sorry to derail. I want a homestead
No.
so bad. You said you have chickens. I want chickens so bad.
Chickens
It's my dream.
are cool. They're the only ones that they earn their keep. They do.
Do you just how many eggs you get from a chicken?
How many eggs from a chicken? So in the spring, they did a weird thing where they slowed way down this winter. But typically, when they're not on strike, you'll get about one a day, almost one a day. So we have 7 hens, we can count on like 5 or 6 eggs a day.
Free food.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we got them good eggs.
I'm coming to Richmond when the AI apocalypse happens.
Come on, we got a jam room, we got eggs.
What's the jam room like?
It's a separate building. I have a garage underneath, and
you have the fucking dream.
You go upstairs. It's really really nice. Yeah.
Real kit in there, e-kit.
There's a real kit in there.
So
sometimes
awesome.
there's an e-kit as well. If we're like doing demos and stuff, it's just more like it's more efficient to do on a V kit. But
when you're doing your demos at home,
yeah,
you mentioned Easy Drummer. Is that what you use?
Yeah, like the old cafe kit version, and I just like
Guess what?
I drag in like something close to the beat, and then I just edit it.
I got a plugin. Let me give you my plugin.
Yeah, you'll have to come and put it into my system for me because I'm the most
get AI to
I'm
do it.
such a boomer, dude. Like,
let me get you my plugin.
I won't even update my what do they call it? The operating system. I won't even
Mac OS.
I won't even update that because it'll mess up all my stuff. Like,
I did it recently. It fucked up my whole
rig.
rig.
Man. I don't want nothing to change. I know how to work.
But eventually they go, you have to do this, and then you're fucked.
And then I gotta wait for Josh.
But I want to get you my plugin, not only because the drum sounds are really fucking good.
Oh, it's your plugin.
My plugin is my kit is recorded at Peter Gabriel's Real World Studios.
Wow.
It's GGD, the Downbeat. I'm super stoked on it. It sounds fucking
I need
incredible.
it. Yeah.
And it's like fully mixed, ready to fucking go.
That's Taylor's thing. Do you know Taylor Larson?
Is that the mixed wave guy?
Yeah,
I don't know him personally, but it's like one of those.
He's
basically.
a buddy of mine. Yeah,
but it's got 300 MIDI grooves in it as well, and I would love to just piss art off with one of the real hard ones.
I'll drag it in and write a song around it.
Even just for one of those songs that doesn't make it on the album, and then I would love you to just tell him if he's struggling with it, be like, that's one of Craig's, and I'd get the text like, you motherfucker.
You know, it's funny, and this is like geeky studio stuff. The only thing I ever care about is snare placement. That's why I just drag stuff in because I'll get it like kind of grooving or whatever, but I don't even bother. Again, Willie edits his drums, man, and Willie's a drummer, and a lot of people know that, but he's very out of practice. But he used to be every bit as good at drums as he is at guitar.
Crazy.
So he edits the hell out of his drum demos, and so to me, like, this is where I want the snare on the riff.
Yeah.
Everything else, you're the drummer, you figure it out.
Yeah, I'll get you a copy of that.
Cool.
It sounds fucking cool.
Cool.
I think we hit everything we need
Nah,
to
it's
hit.
super fun, man.
The album, thanks for coming on.
I want to come back now.
My favorite thing is like a sequel episode because now we know each other. We'll have probably hung out again by that point.
We can give each other a little more shit the next time we sit down. Yeah.
I feel like for a first meeting, there was a great amount of shit today.
Someone very cool that I know told me once, he and I hadn't hung out that much, but we were having conversations that were very meaningful. Yeah. And he told me this, and he told me someone else had told him this, and he was passing it along, that you don't make friends, you recognize them when you meet them.
I feel like I recognize a friend today.
Isn't that cool?
I really like
Yeah.
that. I'll be taking that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you recognize a friend today?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Me too.
Isn't this sweet?
I've had a great time. I've had an awesome time. I hope everyone else has. Madison, I hope you have. Guys, you really, 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 really got to check out Into Oblivion because it's 100% incredible.
Yeah, it's sick. It's a great. I love the record.
Mix, songs, everything. Obviously, go check out the heaviest tour of the year because it is the heaviest tour of the year. And people forget, like, I choose who comes on this podcast, and there have been times when I will get sent a band I like's new album, and you know they are prepped to be on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And if I don't like the album, sometimes they've come on and we've done the bare minimum thing about the album, because I can't be disingenuous about the album. Like, I can't gas it up if I don't
You should
love
just,
it.
like, do like German press.
No, that's the reason we're here is because I fucking hate that. But like, yeah, I'm so glad you brought it up.
The new album
It's
is a bit soft. What's have you run out of ideas?
Answer me this honestly. I'm not going to be hurt by it. Have you ever watched an episode of the Downbeat?
No.
The running joke is German honesty
Oh,
and German
cool.
press. So
You
welcome into the fucking in-joke.
So my mother is German, born and raised in Germany. My grandparents didn't speak any English. I grew up going to Germany all the time.
Why is it not in you?
I don't know. But yeah, I can make fun of Germans as with the best of them.
I'm white. I can do it anyway.
I have every right.
You do. You
yeah, I get to.
But like, yeah, that's the whole thing. I don't like that. I can't be disingenuous about an album. There's been times when I've straight up hit the guest up before and said like, hey, do you mind if we talk about an earlier album?
Well, what an interesting conversation it would be. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm trying to get, now I'm on the receiving end of that. If you were like, hey man, this one didn't really
No,
hit
you
me.
would hate it.
This one didn't really
So
hit
what
me.
I do is I just don't do the interview.
Well, I would say, well, why? Why didn't it?
You are a very rounded individual with the hindsight of sobriety and children and stuff. You could probably have that conversation.
Yeah.
Not many fucking musicians
Yeah,
can.
probably.
So I just don't. I either don't do it or I rephrase the episode to so I'm not being disingenuous. So, long story short, they know that I'm telling them because this record fucking rips.
Well, I'm glad you like it. I like it too.
Me too. Enjoy Nashville.
Yeah.
Enjoy whittling around on some guitars.
Yeah. It's
And
fun.
please keep me posted on whether or not I can keep that guitar bit in.
Yeah. We get to do cool shit.
Cool shit. Thanks, guys.